Welcome back to the Global Business Report on Arise News. Africa and the Caribbean have agreed to open up and promote increased trade and investment between themselves, leveraging existing and new opportunities across sectors that include transport, tourism, banking, healthcare, exports, and creative arts, among others. On Thursday, hundreds of delegates from the Caribbean and the African continent started their three-day summit in Bridgetown, Barbados, the first of such conference put together by the African Export-Import Bank. Arise business anchor Boason Omofaye is attending the One People, One Destiny Summit and sends in this report.
Yeah, the 2022 African-Caribbean Trade and Investment Summit here in Bridgetown, Barbados is taking off today, Thursday, and will be on until the weekend. The whole idea is bringing Africa and the Caribbean together for the first ever summit that will promote trade, investment in culture, in tourism, air and maritime business, agriculture, fashion, creative industries, and everything else in between. But this is raising the curtain with the CEO of Invest Barbados on what is the size of business on the table between Africans and our Caribbean brothers.
Through Active 2022, we also want to explore and enable a possible Afro-Caribbean free trade area, develop creative and cultural industry partnerships, and importantly, to propagate products and initiatives of the Africa Export-Import Bank that support trade between Africa, Africans, and the diaspora, while also reducing the counterpart risk perception, and I emphasize perception, among African and Caribbean businesses who do business among themselves.
The president of the Afrexim Bank, Dr. Benedict Orama, provided further details how to solidify the relationship between the African continent and the Caribbean. And he says that will involve Afrexim Bank setting up office in the Caribbean, as well as opening a special desk or the department in the African Export-Import Bank in Cairo, Egypt, that would deal with trade finance and relationship, trade and investment between the Caribbean countries as well as the African continent itself. But that will also involve issues such around joint venture and a few other areas of collaboration.
We want to leave here clear in our minds regarding ways to catalyze manufacturing investments in the Caribbean to take advantage of the $27 trillion North and Latin American markets. We must collaborate in the healthcare space so that shortages of qualified healthcare professionals can be overcome. We hope to live here with Afrexim Bank not only serving as the Exim Bank for Africa, but also for the Caribbean. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, all these will require funding, investment, courage, boldness, and careful planning. That is why we are most pleased to have made tremendous progress in accelerating the membership of the CARICOM nations in Afrexim Bank. A signature of a participation agreement will enable Afrexim Bank to operate in the CARICOM region and deliver concretely on the new vision. Once these arrangements are concluded, Afrexim Bank will also open an office here in the Caribbean. And if we do agree, the bank will work with the governments of the CARICOM to set up a Caribbean Exim Bank as an Afrexim Bank subsidiary or affiliate. Afrexim Bank envisages committing an investment of $700 million in the Caribbean as soon as a regional office is opened, building on the $250 million we already have established to support trade between the Caribbean and Africa. We will be pleased to advance our discussions with the Caribbean Development Bank to scale up trade-enabling infrastructure investments in the region, as well as investments in integration of CARICOM countries to the emerging value chains within geographic Africa, being made possible by the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. We are happy to have begun the implementation of internship programs whereby Caribbean students pursue attachment programs in Afrexim Bank.
Now, this summit has the full backing of the African Union, and Albert Muchanga, the AU Commissioner in charge of Trade, Tourism and Investment, says the African Union will consider early next year a special agency status for Afreximbank as an agency of the African Union to engage in trade financing on behalf of the African continent.
When you see the African Export-Import Bank working anywhere in the world, including the Caribbean, you should always be fully convinced that the African Union is not very far off. Why do I say so? My brother and good friend, Dr. Orama, last year approached me to say he wanted the African Export-Import Bank to be a specialized agent of the African Union. And I assured him that I was going to fully support the bid. And that has been considered by the ministers responsible for finance. And we are in the final stages of that consideration. And I'm very confident that in February next year, when the matter is put before the heads of state and government, there should be agreement, broad-based agreement, that the African Export-Import Bank is a specialized agent of the African Union on matters, among others, of trade finance.
And now, let's hear from the chief host of this very first ever Trade and Investment African-Caribbean Summit, the Prime Minister of Barbados.
We gather for this historic moment to focus on that which others focused on about us for centuries. Trade, investment, making money, and keeping people out of poverty. We stand today, one day after the United Nations declares that August 31st shall be celebrated as the day of the people of African descent. We stand today, 6 days from the Africa CARICOM Day of the 7th of September, when last year we gathered for the first time, bringing together the leaders of Africa and the Caribbean community to forge our destiny as firm craftsmen of our fate.
Hundreds of Africans are welcome here in Barbados as part of the rest of the part of the Caribbean. The president of Suriname says he's going to waive visas for those who want to come to his country. But again, this is putting the destiny of Africans and the Caribbean brothers and sisters in a single trade and investment horizon. For Arise News, I am Boason Omofaye in Bridgetown.
Boason in Bridgetown. All right.